Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Um, Awakening to Your Story. I'm Alicia Hartzell, the person who's been answering your questions in the comments, the person who's sending you so much love and excited to hear about where your life is and what's going on and how you're doing. This week, we're going to talk about struggle and challenge and when things feel hard. Um, I want to remind you in the comments below this video or in this video, you can always subscribe to my email. It comes out once a week, filled with tons of love and support. And you can also click over to the blog, which has this YouTube video as well as a whole bunch of other supplemental content in there to help you. But, I've been at this working with people for almost 10 years now. And around this time of year, often people feel the struggle even more because of the holidays and the end of the year push to get things done and to feel like you just feel like you have more on your plate this time of year. And struggle can really sneak in to your everyday experience. And in addition to our cultural phenomenon of being separated more than we normally are and where things feel a little bit harder than they typically would, we have that seasonal struggle, that kind of challenge that kind of comes in and sneaks in. So I thought this topic today would be helpful to get you prepped so that at the end of the year, you could feel more ease and peace. Because that's really what we're talking about today, not just the struggle, but the fact that you can have it easier than you have it right now. So there can be ease in your life. There is an idea that ease and it being easy, sometimes I even catch myself saying, oh, it can be easy. Well, that's such a lie. It has to be hard. Like we've been trained from the time that we were really young that if anything is worth having or doing, it's hard. It's a struggle. It's a fight. You have to work for what you want. It cannot just fall into your lap. It cannot come easily. And I want to rip through those limiting beliefs that other people have handed down to us today and gift you to things that you can do to shift struggle almost immediately. So if you're running through your life, your everyday life, like it's no big deal, and you feel that twinge of stress, that twinge of anxiety, that twinge of struggle, there's two things that you can do to shift it almost immediately. The first thing that you can do is believe that ease and peace and harmony and things falling into place for you and unfolding before you and the universe or world working in your favor is an option for you. Now, I know that sounds like a very silly step that you can take, but remember, if you've watched any of my videos before, or maybe it's a new idea to you, your thoughts and your feelings create the right reality before you. So if you are thinking about how hard it is, it's going to be hard. If you are thinking about the ease and the peace and the possibility, then the ease and the peace and the possibility are going to show up for you. Now, it may take a little time because we have a million thoughts running through our mind in any given moment. And the more you focus and pay attention on the ease and the peace and the possibility of things literally unfolding before you, right? You can have inspired thought that leads to inspired action that makes it all feel like, oh, it's in harmony, right? That's an option for you. So the first thing you have to do is believe that you can have it. And that's just watching your thoughts and believing you can have it. And in addition to that, I want to advocate for you to not only believe that you can have it, but I want you to start daydreaming about it. Put yourself in the way of those feelings as much as possible. So, what would it feel like to have that very struggle that you're thinking about. We all have like one or two on a daily basis that's like right in the forefront of our mind. What if that struggle melted away? What would that feel like? Like, allow yourself to be there in it for a minute. Whether you think about it when you're taking a shower, when you think about it when you're brushing your teeth, or before your feet even hit the ground in the morning, just gift yourself a little space to feel what that ease and flow and rhythm feels like, right? Now, the second thing that you have to do, or not that you have to do, that you can do to shift the struggle is to understand that your relationship with it has to change. So rather than allowing the struggle to force you into a position in your life, use it. So don't take direction from the struggle, from the anxiety, from the fear, from all of those things that make life feel hard. Stop taking direction from them. Use them instead. Because the reality is the struggle in front of you is an indicator that you're out of alignment with that source energy that flows through you, that flows through everything that's part of this humanity. And when you're out of alignment with that, it feels really, really hard. You're in resistance to it. And so I have come up years ago, I came up with an analogy that I was using with the people that I taught. And it became such a prevalent thing that we talked about that I wrote a book about it. Awakeningtoyourstory.com. You can get it on Amazon. It walks you through the analogy that I'm going to give you with stories to really kind of help it like become like real life to you. I also wrote a starter kit, which you can find on awakeningtoyourstory.com, and we referenced it quite a bit in there. And so I decided to make a handbook. It's called the River of Life Handbook, and it's so powerful in this idea of shifting your mind that I'm actually going to give you a code to just go onto the website and download it for free. So you can use code MyEase when you check out, and it'll just allow you to download it for free. It's that important this time of year. I want you to have as many tools as you can to set yourself up to thrive. Okay. So the analogy is called the stream kayak principle, and it is super simple, but yet super insightful and positive and mind blowing when you really start to use it and think about it. And I still use it almost every day. So this is how it goes. On the river of life, everybody has a boat. So the river of life is the life force energy, right? It's your life. And every person on that river of life has their own boat, their own kayak. And that kayak is your consciousness. And everything you could possibly need on the river of life is found right there within your boat, right? Now, ideally, we are designed to float in perfect harmony with the river, right? We are meant to bask in the sunshine and create and enjoy and thrive and allow that current to take us right where our desires and our life force energy within us is pulling us towards, right? Now, if there's rapids in the water, we have everything in the boat that we need to navigate our way through. We can have challenging times and hard times and sad times, but we can navigate our way through that river of life, that circumstance or scenario on the river of life with what we have within our consciousness. Now, often we end up with trouble in the water. There's lots of different ways that this can happen. You can have two people in one boat. This is a lot of codependency and stuff like that, where you're asking someone to do something for you that they were never designed to do. You can also not have your boat at all. you can be drowning on the river. And I'm sure we all know those people who they're literally struggling so much. They are willing to pull you down and pull you under the water at any chance they have. They just anything to keep their head above the water. And then there's also the scenario that we're going to talk about today, which is where you have your boat turned around and you're literally fighting against the current, right? You're paddling so hard upstream and you're working, and it becomes physically exhausting. It becomes mentally exhausting. And it's not the optimal position. So everything feels hard because you're literally going against the current of life. Now, if you can figure out where you are on the river of life, where you are in relationship to your boat, where you are in relationship to how you're feeling on that river, then you have the power to change and shift where you are. So, remember, we have the first thing that we talked about. Number 1 is understand that ease is a possibility for you, and put your mind in front of those ideas and those feelings as much as possible, right? So that kind of opens the door. It gives you an opportunity to believe that you can have more than what you're in right now. And then 2 is using the struggle rather than taking direction from it. Now, to use that struggle, all you have to do is acknowledge that the struggle is there, see it for what it is, stop taking direction from it, but just notice it, and then figure out where you are in relationship to it. Okay, I can feel that this thing that is making my life feel so hard, I'm pushing against I'm pushing against the water. My paddle is in the water and I'm pulling and pulling and pulling, and it's hard and I'm fighting and I'm fighting. Well, what if I were to put my paddle back in the boat, take a breath, let my boat slowly turn around, and start to think of things more in alignment than the struggle, right? And the way you turn your boat around is you really use your thought, one feeling at a time. And understanding where you are in relationship to your boat and the struggle really gives you so much power, because you actually stop taking direction from them, even if it's just for a moment, and you stop that resistance, even if it's just for a moment while you figure out all the details. And then if you choose to continue the fight and the struggle, by all means, sometimes it feels worth it. But if you don't like it, you can slowly turn your boat back around. So let's just say you are, I, I don't know, does anybody on here have a question about it? Have a struggle that they want to type in? We can use it as an example. Let's say, but I'll just say, like, some of my work that I'm doing. I'm fighting it, sit down, do it, sit down, show up, do it. It feels like I'm fighting against the current. I'm not inspired. I'm not here working on it. It's a fight. So what if I just put my paddles back in, stop shooting on myself, stop taking direction from, those thoughts running in my head and the fight that I have to have something done by a particular time. Just take a breath, get back in my boat and say, okay, I can be in flow. I can be in harmony. What do I know right now? I know that I'm not feeling like that is what I want to be doing. Well, what would you like to be doing instead? What would bring you in this moment joy? About this thing feels hard? Oh, I don't feel inspired. Oh, okay. Okay. When are you inspired? Well, when was the last time I was inspired? You know what? I got inspired when I went on that walk. Oh, interesting. I wonder if I could go on another walk and get a little inspiration. Oh, the last time I felt really connected was when I did a meditation. Maybe I should do a meditation. Just get curious and slow down the shooting, slow down the resistance, slow down that thing that makes it hard. Understand where you are on the river of life, and then get curious. Because we are on the river of life and in our boat and in relationship to what's going on the river of life because our mind is thinking and we are feeling from those thoughts. And you absolutely have power over those things. So if you stay curious, you ease up on some of that resistance and you can figure out how to navigate your way through. And from there, you can have more inspired action, more inspired feelings, more inspired thoughts. And that brings in those moments where you have life unfolding before you, magical things showing up, right? The example that I used, interestingly enough, that was something that I was working on a couple weeks ago. And I just eased up, put my paddles back in my boat, got calm, started showing up for myself, started getting my body moving again because when I was curious, that was what showed up. And then the universe conspires in your favor when you're in that alignment. And I have been doing this gratitude practice with a girlfriend of mine, and she said something in her practice about bringing more joy into writing and into your work and making it more playful. And that thing that she said sparked so much insight and so much like aha to me that it shifted my perspective on showing up to do the work at my desk. And it was like, oh, there's that aligned thought. I got myself into that place of alignment. And then there was a moment where someone else said something to me that hit right like an arrow to my heart, speaking exactly to that thing that I had been fighting against. But instead of fighting against it, now the universe can conspire in my favor, and I could have those inspired thoughts that made it feel better. And now, like since that point last week, every time I sit down at my desk, it feels like a joy. I feel like I'm overflowing with things that I'm writing and that I'm doing and that I'm creating. So whether or not it happens right away or not, it doesn't matter. It's okay. Remember, it happens one thought and one feeling at a time. So if you have to put your paddles back in your boat 50 times in a day, take all of the blame and worry and restrictions and stuff off of that. It doesn't matter. Every time you show up, every time you put your paddles back in your boat and you allow yourself to get into alignment with that life force energy and you start to flow in harmony, doesn't matter how many times a day you do it. Every time you do it and you show up, you start to repattern that struggle out. And you start to open the door for possibility, open the door for alignment, open the door for peace and ease, and the universe to show up and conspire in your favor. And that's when those miracles and the magic and the wonder really starts to happen in an undeniable way for you. So, this week, as you go through your life, I want to invite you to do those two things. One, believe that ease and harmony and life conspiring in your favor and things unfolding before you in this beautiful rhythmic way is a possibility for you. One, you are worthy of it. You deserve it. It is your right. It is within your reach. And two, start being curious about where you are in relationship to your boat, which is your consciousness, and to the river of life, which is that life force energy that moves through everything. You start doing that and you stop taking direction from the struggle, but using the struggle to help you figure out where you are in relationship to your boat and the river. And I promise you that ease will be within your reach. The struggle will start to melt away because you're going to start using it rather than taking direction from it. So remember that you have the power to start to eliminate that struggle, step more deeply into ease, and to feel that magic around you where the universe is really working in your favor. Okay, so I also want to remind you, you can use the code MYEASE, all capital, MYEASE, EASE, to get your hands on a free copy of the River of Life Handbook. I'll put a link in the video, and it will also be on the website as well. Use it, get your hands on it, see if it helps you. Um, and I also want to remind you that you can ask me questions. I'm answering questions every day on these videos. Ask me questions. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what you're feeling. I'm here to support you and love you and cheerlead you along through your life. And I'm here to help you shift anything that isn't feeling good into something that feels more powerful and tangible and better for you. Okay, go out there and own your ease and your peace and all of those things that are magically working in your favor. And until next week, know that I am holding a place of love for you where that is not only possible, but it's reality. Okay, I'll see you guys next week.